Cat and Mouse is a 1961 novella by the German writer Günter Grass, penned as the second part of a trilogy between his 1959 The Tin Drum and his 1963 Dog Years. It's probably the least understood of the three works. Grass was born in Danzig in 1927, and he served in the German army during the Second World War, including, controversially, a spell in the Waffen-SS, which he only disclosed in 2006. Most of his novels ask why Germany allowed itself to be seduced by Nazism and how it can ever come to terms with the guilt it incurred. A social democrat, he opposed German unification after the Berlin Wall came down, fearing that a united Germany would once again threaten world peace. He won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1999, and he died in 2015 in hospital at the age of 87. Cat and Mouse is about the pre-war and war days on the home front in Danzig. Its narrator is a schoolboy called Pellenz, and it focuses exclusively on his relationship with a slightly older boy called Malky. Malky is eccentric, unpredictable, and more than capable of standing up for himself. He's a skilled underwater diver, a collector of odds and ends, and passionately devoted to the Virgin Mary, although he reveals late on in the novel that he doesn't actually believe in God. The first part of the novel is, and is probably intended to be, pretty dull. Pellenz is trying to understand events years afterwards, and it feels as if something traumatic has happened to him in the intervening period. He only once mentions his present life in chapter 11, and it's a ramble about his gloomy conscience, his unpaid social work in a settlement house, and his all-night discussions with Father Alban. Some of the dullness comes from the war. Most of the novel's early chapters might be subtitled What Happened in the Background Amongst Those Who Didn't Count. Yes, as the boys get older, they get conscripted, so obviously the war does begin to intrude. Even so, never directly. There are food shortages, but no air raids. The novel's central event is an apparently motiveless theft by Malky of a medal brought into the boys' school by a war hero. Even more motiveless is Malky's subsequent owning up and return of the stolen item, following which he's expelled. Later on, he joins a tank regiment, distinguishes himself on the battlefield, and wins an identical medal. His sole ambition is to address an assembly-dissolved school, but his former headmaster, understandably or not, declines to host him. Malky's schoolboy theft trumps whatever he may have achieved in combat. That might sound petty. It isn't. I'll say why in a moment. The novel's title, Cat and Mouse, isn't easy to explain. It has a variety of trivial meanings, including a reference to Malky's protruding Adam's apple, but in general usage it tends to be a metaphor for hunter versus hunted, strong versus weak, and as such it has no exact counterpart in here. In chapter 12, Pellenz describes Malky as a solemn clown triumphing over cat and mouse with his irrefutable faith, which isn't much help. The key may lie with Pellenz himself, specifically the difficulty he has throughout in getting a handle on his story. In my view, Cat and Mouse is a retelling in a new context of Alain Fournier's 1913 Le Grand Monde. The similarities are too numerous to list here, but both feature larger-than-life adolescent heroes, idyllic summers, the gradual intrusion of a harsher adult reality, and the impossibility of returning to the past. In the later part of the novel, Pellenz realizes that Malky can only have one nickname, the Great Malky. But whereas Alain Fournier's novel became famous because of a war, Grass's actually incorporates war. Part of the reason there's no return to home for Malky is that he actually is guilty. He really did commit a significant theft, for which incidentally the headmaster repeatedly slapped an innocent boy, believing he was to blame, and simply owning up isn't sufficient to exonerate him. He's not entitled to imagine things can carry on as they were before. There's a lot more to this novel than can really be covered here. Malky's religious devotion, for example, which seems superficial. It's demanding, but well worth it.